Daisy.
And I'm Terry.
And this is the Monday Mindset Podcast,
where we share things of interest to us and hopefully to you.
So let's get started with episode number 277.
And today it's Daisy's turn to share something with us. Daisy, what do you have?
Well, Terry, I have good vibrations. That's what I have.
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
I am talking about vibration plates. I teased you last time, and I'm going to tease you again a little bit because I'm going to save until the end my best way of using 10 minutes. But, you know, a clue's in the name. It's going to have something to do with a vibration plate, right? But it's a little bit more than that. But this is another one of those ones, a bit like my walking barefoot around the field where I take the dogs. This is another one where I kind of saw a bit of stuff that triggered, oh yeah, I should do that. And so it's a sort of experiential one, plus a few bits and bobs from podcasts. So it's a bit sort of here, there, and pulling bits and pieces. But it's something that I have been doing. I have been doing every day. So I can sort of, feedback with my experience of it. And I think the first time I heard somebody talking about it, and it does seem to have sort of had a bit of a resurgence. I was reading an article the other day and they were talking about how, it happens with all things, but certainly with exercise fads, different trends come and go, don't they? And they come back and they get reinvented a bit. And I feel like that's kind of what seems to be happening with the vibration plate. And of course, there's a new product. It's called the Power Plate or something, and it's ridiculously expensive. It's like $3,000 or something nuts. And I think it might be a bit more substantial because people are sort of jumping on and off it and all the rest of it. But no, I certainly don't have the disposable income to spend $3,000 on a Power Plate. So this is not something that requires a huge investment, let me tell you. I actually bought one, must have been about 4 or 5 years ago. It was on the sort of year before I left France, so it must be at least 4 or 5 years ago, because I'd heard that it was really good for lymphatic drainage and particular for lipedema, which again is something I've mentioned. I don't have an official diagnosis, but I'm pretty sure that I do have it, particularly in my legs. And so it was something that I'd bought to help with that. And I sort of faffed around with it a bit, but I wasn't super consistent. And it went in a box when I moved, and it stayed in a box for those 4+ years until I heard Dr. Tyna Moore, who I really like, and I watch a lot of her YouTubes, and I stumbled across a podcast with her talking to this guy called Dr. Jason Conviser. I've forgotten the pronunciation of that, but his work is all about using these. He uses these power plates, and he has some programs. So there was a fair bit of, pushing the promotional aspect of power plate, but you can just ignore that. And they were talking about the benefits of it to such an extent with some of the things that I'll go on to tell you about, and Dr. Tyna Moore's own experience of it. I thought, you know what, I should pull that back out. So I got it out of the box and started using it consistently, and, discovered some things for myself. So it is set up in my kitchen. It probably annoys the hell out of my neighbours when it's on, but to be honest, I don't really care because I have to listen to super loud. I should imagine it's a little bit like when my neighbour's washing machine is on, so I don't feel too guilty. Hideous DIY noise going on next door, all the rest of it. We all create our own noise. 10 minutes of vibration plates, I don't do it at times when I think people are going to be asleep or whatever. So this podcast with Dr. Tyna Moore, it's her podcast. It's called the Dr. Tyna Moore Show or something. And she has this Dr. Jason Conviser on. And he is talking, obviously, about vibration plates. And all sorts of things are said about them, like potentially going on them is the equivalent of running for half an hour and all this. But he breaks down some of the things. He certainly seems to use them in quite a therapeutic way and at different levels for different people. He says that To explain kind of how they work, when you're lifting, say for example you're lifting traditional weights, so say you're lifting some dumbbells in a shoulder press above your head, you're really sort of just lifting really in one direction. You're using, the muscles are contracting in, probably more than one exact direction. They're a bit more free-forming than if you're using these machines, as we were talking about the other day. But, they're just sort of moving in one direction. He did get into the nitty-gritty about the different levels of how many hertz, but for most of me, it's about 30 hertz. And that apparently sort of equates to the muscles firing 30 times every second at that sort of speed. But when you're stood on a vibration plate, it kind of forces all your muscles into contracting. So they talk about how you don't have to, your brain doesn't have to tell the muscles to work. I know we kind of do it automatically, like just lifting those weights, but your brain is engaging and having to tell your muscles to do that. You stand on the vibration plate and it just kind of forces them into working. It forces them to vibrate. And he says it's a great safe way of doing it without overloading the system. It's a great way to warm up before strength training, is something they talk about. And that's one of the things that made me think, oh yeah, I need to get that out of the box. And on the other end, it's a great warm down afterwards to sort of relax everything after you've been strength training. It's not exhausting, but all the muscles in the area that's working have been firing at the same time. Tyna Moore says, it feels like you've put in the work, but it doesn't feel challenging. And I'd agree with that. I'll go on to sort of list the different things that I think about it at the end. And they're saying it's a very efficient use of time. It encourages strength in multiple joint angles because of this vibration. And the vibrations sort of work in different directions. I think it sort of shakes you side to side and, it works in different planes. I think it sort of goes up and down and side to side and round and round. And it sort of feels like it jiggles you about all over the place. I'm sort of acting it out if I sound a bit weird. The vibration stimulates the muscles to fire, like kind of just forces it into doing it. And he says that vibration forces the shortening and lengthening of the muscle fibers, and it makes more blood go to them. So it warms you up faster. It's a very efficient and quick way of warming up and giving your muscles more firepower. So it's a really good preemptive thing to do when you're going into strength training, because it warms everything up very efficiently and gets all the, the blood flowing. So you're really primed to then go into a strength routine. Lymphatic drainage. This was the reason why I got it in the first place. You may or may not know, but the lymphatic system, the lymph fluid, it's not sort of self-powered like the blood system. The heart pumps the blood around our body, doesn't it? But the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. There's nothing dedicated there to pump that lymph fluid around the system. But it works by the muscles in our body move the lymph fluid around. So the more we get our muscles working, the more it moves the lymph fluid around the lymphatic system. And this vibration plate kind of acts like a gentle massage, which is fantastic for the lymphatic system. And, why do we need that? It's the thing that sort of clears out. It's one of the things that clears out the junk from our system. We do need that lymphatic system to work properly. He says, and this made me think of Dr. Jason Fung was talking about this in a podcast I edited recently, and I know it's something you talk about a lot in the TFM community. I think it's something that's coming up as a theme in like this month or next month, wherever we are in the timeline, or part of it anyway, talking about our body set weight and, his analogy with the thermostat and how we can potentially affect that. And this is something that they mentioned that made me think of it. He said, Jason Conviser said that the vibration turns your body thermostat up a little bit. So it improves your resting metabolic rate. There's no sort of fix. And they kept mentioning studies without sort of going into detail about that. So how robust this evidence is, I don't know. But even if it improves it just a little bit, that's a good thing. in my book. Again, they mention these studies, but without going into detail, but he said that it increases lean muscle mass and muscular endurance. Again, got to be a good thing. Improves bone density. He went into a little bit explaining this, but he says if you think about the muscles are attached to tendons, and the more you're activating the muscles there, they said it was a basic way of thinking about it, but it sort of pulls on the bones a bit and it's stimulating the bones, and that's a good thing. Cortisol levels decrease with whole body vibration. Human growth hormone increases. And he says it's not linear or predictable in terms of dose response, but he was pretty clear on the fact that, he said that there are studies to back this up. There is an increase in human growth hormone, but he can't tell you how much. He said people respond differently. He said there is almost certainly an increase, but how much, he doesn't know. He said it's very variable, very individual. It depends on the individual, and then it depends very much on the use. How long are you doing it for, at what speed, how often, how consistent you are with it. So he can't give you a dose specific response. But again, I think with all these things, if there's just a little bit, you put them all together, this could be good. And the thing that really did it for me was Tyna Moore talking about how she has had lots of issues with chronic pain. She's got spinal problems with her spine, and there was one point where it was starting to fuse in places, and it happened that she got sent, I think, one of these spendy power plates. So she was trying it out, and it was one of the only things that she could do, and she noticed after just a week she started to notice a huge difference. It was not only sort of easing her pain directly, but it was just loosening everything up, freeing her up enough to be able to incorporate more movement. And she was joking that her and her husband were due to go on holiday. She was sort of 2 weeks into doing it and really noticed it. She was saying, I almost don't want to go on holiday because I want to take the vibration plate with me. It was really, really helping. Like I say, they were pushing this expensive power plate, but the one I got was, I think it was round about £100 when I got it. And I did actually look it up. And it's about £60, £70 on Amazon. So it's not nothing, but it's a fairly modest investment if you feel like you're getting benefit from it. And I'm just sort of having a quick look at the time, so I won't blather on for too much longer. But just to mention quickly, there was a nice chat that she had on another podcast episode with JJ Virgin. Apparently they're old mates, and they had a really good old chin wag. And they talked a little bit about vibration plates, but there was some really great stuff in there about exercising and different things that they recommend. And again, going back to, the power of strength training, and just Tyna Moore talks about you need to squeeze your muscles and all the good stuff that happens. They were saying when you're experiencing some pain and getting this movement in, they're saying it's the fastest way to heal. Never stop moving, unless you really can't avoid it. And I remember one of the post-op surgeries I had after bariatric surgery, a particularly grueling plastic surgery I had for, it was a 360 lift where they sort of cut me and hoiked me together, and really painful. But there was a sort of rehab type guy that came in, and he insisted, and this was the first time this had happened actually, but he was great. And that was the first time that it brought it home to me, the importance of movement. He made me get up. I was like, oh no, it really hurts. He said, I don't care. You're getting up and you're moving. And he came every day and he made me walk up and down the corridor, because he said, it's so crucial to healing to move. You've got to do it. And so, yeah, they were talking about this. And I put all the links to all these videos in the notes so you can go and listen to them for yourself. But there's another channel called The Science of Self-Care. This woman does all sorts of videos, but she's got a couple talking about the difference between rebounders and vibration plates, because rebounders are also supposed to be very good for lymphatic drainage. And she talks about the difference between them, the benefits, and is one better than the other? And short answer is they're both good in slightly different ways. But she tried a vibration plate for 6 months and then does a video and tells you the benefits from it. And she's a supporter of them. She really likes them. So my observations, the exercise claims, they make claims like going on a vibration plate for 10 minutes is the same as going running for half an hour. No, it's not. I would say, though, it kind of depends where you're starting from. And they do recommend, starting low and slow. Of course, I just got on it for the full. Mine, one of the things I like about mine is it has 5 different programs. So I just select one. It's a 10-minute program and it sort of varies the speed. It jiggles you around at different paces and it ups and downs the speed and different things. And so that's great. You haven't got to think about changing it. So I just get on it. And there are definitely, I've noticed real differences in the programs. So it's like, boy, yes, program 5 compared to program 1, that I did have a bit of muscle soreness after that. So it definitely, it's doing something, and it depends a little bit how you stand on it. There are all sorts of now exercise routines you can do on them. And I actually find it does depend how you stand on it. I get the most of it actually from just standing straight up. It kind of travels up your body to where you bend, if that makes sense. So if you imagine, if you do a squat on it, if you're doing squats, it sort of stops. It doesn't completely stop at your knees, but it doesn't travel up as far as if you're standing straight up, if you see what I mean. The vibrations don't travel all the way up. And you can do things like doing press-ups and stuff on it. I haven't really done that. But I don't find much benefit to doing the exercises. I find more, especially as I'm doing it mostly for my legs, I find more from just standing on it. I was doing some rocking backwards and forwards up onto my toes and back onto my heels today, and that was good. Recovery after doing a workout, 100%. Yes, that's usually, if it's a strength training day for me, I have a warm-up built into my routine at the strength training, so I tend to use it afterwards when I come back. And I do find benefit from that. But as a warm-up as well, it definitely is great. Recovery from if you're in some kind of pain, again, absolutely. Yes, I've used it for this and I found benefit. So you will know, I get an issue sometimes between my shoulder blades. And usually when that comes on, I've got it for 2 or 3 days, no matter what I do. I try all sorts of different exercises. Now, we've got confounding factors here with doing strength training and things, so I can't categorically say the vibration plate helped. And I've got this massage thing that I use that probably helps as well. But it came on in the morning and I was on that vibration plate 2 or 3 times that day. And I did some push-ups. It wasn't a strength training day, but I did some push-ups because I figured that might help. I did a bit of massage thing and that was it. It was gone by the end of the day and it didn't come back. But I've also overdid it in one of my strength training and hurt my lower back and was getting on the vibration plate more for that and could feel that it helped. But again, just coming back to this, moving is beneficial if something happens. So if I was coming from a sedentary position, so when I got up in the morning, bad pain, difficult to stand up. When I'd been sitting down at the desk, again, standing up. But as soon as I started moving around, the pain was going away. Lymphatic drainage, I don't know. I can't quantify that, but I feel like it helps. And balance and stability, of course, because you're standing on it and it doesn't sort of throw you about all over the place, but you kind of have to think about it. So that's my sort of trying to race through as much as I can about the vibration plate, and probably haven't given you any super valuable information. Go and listen to these people who talk about it with more knowledge and in more detail. But I will now tell you that I'm very pleased with my multitasking. I call it multitasking and multisensory because I multitask 4 different things and I managed to use all my senses in 10 minutes. So obviously it's a vibration plate. It's getting on there for a 10-minute program. They come in handy 10-minute programs. And that seems to be the general recommendation, to get on it for 10 minutes. And so what I do is I make my coffee and I set up my iPad on the unit. As I said, it's in the kitchen. So I'm also I tend to do it in the morning. So I'm also adding that morning light is streaming through the windows thinking about what you were saying the other day. So I'm getting that. I can just about drink coffee as I'm being jiggled about. Depends how vigorous the program is. I am listening to my audiobook. So there's one vibration plate. There's 2. I could actually add in 5 if we add in the sunlight, but we're adding in the coffee, we're adding in the audiobook, and we're adding in, I'm doing my puzzles. So I'm doing these 4 things and I do them in 10 minutes, and it's multisensory because I'm using all my senses. You know, I've got the smell, I've got the taste with the coffee, I've got the light, and I'm looking at my puzzles, I'm listening to my audiobook. Have I listed all the senses? I think I have, but they're all there. So I challenge you, feeling very pleased with myself, that this is 10 minutes I do every day. I challenge you to come up with a more productive and beneficial way to use 10 minutes of your time and the benefits that you get from it.
I love it.
And I have been doing it every day, sometimes more than once.
Nice. I've not been on a vibration plate for years, but I have, I would say, kind of played around with it a little bit. I wouldn't say did anything consistently with it. And I have looked it up once in a while and thought about, is this something I should do? And so, of course, as you were talking, I jumped on and started shopping really fast. And the first thing that came up was the $3,000 personal version. But I can also see some, that also have good ratings that are like $70. So now I'm like, oh, the dilemma. I might have to get rid of some other kind of equipment here or something. But one of the things I love about it, Daisy, is it just really strikes me that it seems like it's for a full range, like intense athletes can benefit from it. People who really can't mobility-wise do certain types of activities can get benefit from it.
And you can sit in a chair and put your feet on it. You don't even have to stand on it if that's too much.
Yeah. So I think it's encouraging to me to think of it, if I were to buy one, that it's also something long-term. It's not like, okay, if I'm buying this thing for running, what if I stop running eventually? But that this is something that would benefit any of us at any time. So looking at that, but then also the other health benefits that are beyond the fitness benefits, but, just the lymphatic drainage and different things. I used to have a rebounder and loved that, but didn't use it often enough. And so again, my hesitation is almost always, will this be another device in the device museum? But it sounds like it has such good potential. And something that's always appealing to me about things like this is the short length of time.
Yeah.
Like if you said you need to stand on it for an hour and a half every day.
No, too much.
I'd be like, oh, that sounds great for you, Daisy. Good job. But to really think about something really brief like that can have so much impact.
Yeah. And being able to tie it with others. This is why I get so excited about it. I mean, if I just had to stand on it and do nothing else, how consistent would I be? I don't know. But that 10 minutes flies because I've mentioned these little word puzzles I do. So I'm not looking at the time. I'm doing my word puzzles and I'm listening to my audiobook. And 10 minutes goes past in no time, and I got my coffee. So it's things I'd be doing those things anyway, but I'd be sitting on my backside doing them, So it's not like I'm taking extra time out, and I've put it in a place where I'm going to use it, and it's practical to use in my kitchen, where I would be spending that time anyway. So it's, thinking all of these things that James Clear says about attaching to other habits and making it easy to use, taking away the friction that gets in the way of making it really easy for you to do. And, I quite enjoy it. They do say, and I was talking to a friend of mine who has lipedema, and I was saying to her, it's fantastic. But I said, come and get on mine and try it. Because this woman who does the comparison, she says you have to try it because you kind of either love it or hate it. And some people really don't like the feeling of it. I quite enjoy it. I like the feeling. I like all that. You get jiggled around and then afterwards you think, oh yeah, I've just got a bit of a free workout from that. I can really feel that in my buttocks and my legs, So I would definitely say to people, see if you can go and try it, because you might really hate it. And no, Daisy, I hate that. You made me go and buy this thing and I loathe it. I'm not going to go on that every day, but I'm quite happy to go on it every day. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the fact that I've just multitasked that 10 minutes. I've multitasked the hell out of that 10 minutes. I feel so pleased with myself.
Whether the other things are actually beneficial or not, the achieving the multitasking is so pleasing.
It's a great mood enhancer.
I love it.
But like I say, I've thrown some extra ones in there for pain relief, which seems crazy, but it really has worked that way for me. So yeah.
Fantastic.
I thoroughly recommend it. And it doesn't need to cost you a fortune. There's no way I'm even thinking of saving up for a hugely expensive power plate. No, it's not going to happen. I'll stick with my fairly cheap one. Thank you.
I love it.
So sometimes that's another thing, isn't it? Sometimes you just need more than one reason for doing something. Sometimes, one reason alone isn't enough. But yeah, the more you can make it enjoyable and easy to do, the better.
Absolutely. Ease. I had such a hard workout yesterday and today that anything that could be described as easy is so appealing to me right now.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. Now I'm going to have to add to my shopping list.
Well, at least it won't cost you a fortune.
That's right. That's right.
I'll give you some tips of the things that I looked out for on mine, because there are quite a few out there, as you would have seen. But yeah, I think it's certainly a good thing to go and try. Find somebody that you know that's got one if you've never been on one before, and go and see if you like it. Okay, well, until I see you next week, I hope you have a very wonderful week.
Take good care, everyone.